All right, guys, how is it going? How is it hanging? Welcome in here. Thank you to Slaughterhouse Sports and Kurt Magoosh Sports, and I wanted to take this time tonight, and I wanted to develop a thought about the national championship, the entire college basketball landscape. That's what I wanted to do tonight, is talk about college basketball. And I wanted to talk about this full NCAA tournament, what ended up transpiring, what lessons did we learn, from Thursday, from Friday, from Saturday, from Sunday, about really congesting, or that's not even a word, is it? Is that funny, I guess? But, congesting, I mean, like actually watching the tournament, like what did we learn? All right. What did we learn as a college basketball watching community? And I know that this is a lot of football people, but it's always fun to talk basketball because I love the NCAA tournament. I love everything about it, and I love college basketball. So, without any further ado, let's get to breaking this whole thing down. All right. So Thursday rolls around. You have Villanova, who is a very physical team who plays a lot of defense. They start Gillespie. They start Justin Moore. They have Slater, Samuels, and Daniels interchangeable 3 and 4s. And then they have one big guy in Eric Dixon. I believe that's his name, is Eric Dixon. And listen, Eric Dixon, he had to guard against Hunter Dickinson. All right, so, Michigan had Hunter Dickinson, Eli Brooks, Caleb Houston, who was a non-factor in the game. The point is, against Tennessee, Michigan guards and Eli Brooks was really good, but now their starting point guard came back. They were not as effective as when Eli was running the point guard situation there. And the point is, Villanova just slows the game down, so they never turn it over. They never make mistakes. Offensively, they always catch the ball, jump stop, do all of the fundamental aspects of basketball, and they're never going to take terrible shots, and you're never going to score in transition on Villanova. And then on defense, they have athletes, and they're going to guard you. They can move laterally. They're really, really strong, and they're really tough to score against. Now, their weakness, Villanova, is that in terms of creating shots, like they're not great at like creating their own shot, and they don't shoot it at a really high clip. So they're all right at creating offense for themselves, but they're not really like a really fun Villanova run and gun team. They shoot the three poorly. They pass it around to each other, take up the whole shot clock, and then they don't really, they score. They're like shooting like 35 or 40%. They're not a good offensive Villanova team, but what they do is they play defense. They'll beat you in the 50s, okay? And they're a very tough team to go against. And, my opinion, the way that you beat Villanova is you take Colin Gillespie and you pressure him half court. You get Colin really, really tired. And that's what, I'll preview the upcoming matchups, but Michigan, Hunter Dickinson was okay. They missed some free throws. They were there with Villanova. But again, you got to play a really, really good game if you're going to beat this Villanova team. They're very connected. Justin, Colin, Samuels, Daniels. I mean, the way that they're coached and the way that they have played together for several years, they are a really tough team to beat. And they were able to beat Michigan because Michigan guard play are just terrible against Villanova. Against Villanova, they're going to take away your guards, and your guards are going to play like crap. So the point is that Villanova's an all-right team. Are they incredibly pleasing to watch? They're fine. Do they shoot the three really, really well? I mean, Justin and Colin can hit shots. They know they're a veteran team. They know when the other team goes on a run, they know when to step it up and take advantage of you, but they smother you defensively. That's what they do, and that's what they did to Michigan. And Caleb Houston was just not effective, was just timid. Michigan's guards in general were not very good. Eli Brooks, Moussa Diabate needed to be great. Against Tennessee, Michigan played their A game of A games, and Tennessee sped it up, got sloppy. Tennessee was winning and got sloppy, but frankly, Eli Brooks playing off the ball, he's not as effective. He needs to be the point guard, and he needs to be running offense, but this other kid came in and ran point guard for Michigan, and Michigan just looked bad, but again, credit Villanova, because Michigan guard play in the game, that's what cost him the game. Hunter Dickinson was fine, missed a couple bunnies, but still probably had 18 to 20 points, but that was the story really of that opening of Thursday. Then you look at Arkansas playing Gonzaga, and this is a game where Nembhard of Gonzaga, who's a point guard at Gonzaga, Hunter Salas, Gonzaga's guards are just not what they were last year. Corey Kispert's an All-American. Corey Kispert averages probably 20 points a game last year. The best shooter in college basketball, a top 15 pick in the NBA draft. You lose him. You lose Jalen Suggs, who's at 6'1", who's so athletic, who is probably the player of the, I don't know who got player of the year last year in college. No, it was Luka Garza, but Jalen Suggs was the best player in the tournament last year. Best player, an electric guard. Then you had Nembhard, you had Ajayi. Ajayi was really good last year. So, you had Drew Timme. I'm trying to think of the other guys that they had inside. I know that you have this year, you add Chet, but Chet got into foul trouble. Chet against Memphis was just okay. And in this game, Jalen Williams is just a veteran. Jalen Williams is a really smart player, and he can get Chet into foul trouble, but Gonzaga's guards are just not the same caliber of guards, and you thought Nembhard would be awesome in this tournament. He had a bad game. And then their twos and their threes, their shooting guards and small forwards are not there either. So they end up getting bounced. They get housed by an Arkansas team that'll D you up, by one of the best coaches in all of college basketball in Eric Musselman, a scoring guard in J.D. Note, and a team that's connected, battle-tested in the SEC. That was a huge win for the SEC. Back-to-back Elite Eights for the Razorbacks of Arkansas. Then you had that night, Texas Tech and Duke. And to me, that was maybe the game of the tournament. Because Texas Tech, I've watched them all year. I'm a fan of the Red Raiders basketball team. I love Mark Adams. Love him. Love the story, too. At 63 years old, grinded his way. West Texas, community colleges, being an assistant for many, many years. Never wanted the credit. A defensive specialist. It's all about offense in every sport. But he's a defensive guy, and he battled the tough way. And then they recruited kids like Adonis Arms, who had no scholarship offers out of high school, who was only 6'1" in high school, grew to be 6'5", played at community college several years. Bryson Williams, who played Conference USA at UTEP, all right? O'Banner, again, from Eric O'Bannon, I think. Yeah, Eric O'Banner, TCU sharpshooter from Oral Roberts, excuse me. So, really fun team, incredible team, really fun to watch. Warren, who's a Buffalo, New York, played at Hampton, was a great scoring guard, 6'6". Carlos Santos Silvas, who's just a stud. I love him. I love this team. It was like a football team playing basketball. They grinded, they defended. Every game was incredible effort. They swept Texas both times. They made it to the finals of the Big 12 tournament, beating Iowa State. I love this Texas Tech team. And, the way that Duke scored, Texas Tech was the number one defense in the country because the defense never rests, in Mark Adams' words. But Jeremy Roach has just gone to a Tyus Jones level in this tournament. I'd argue he's the best point guard playing in this tournament. The way that he's playing is absolutely unreal. The shot he hits against Michigan State, the shots that he hit against Texas Tech, he's a little guard, but man, he can get inside and he can finish, he can wiggle. You can't stay in front of him. They space you. Wendell Moore is really, really good, can space you, can hit threes all day long. Griffin can hit you from the outside. He's going to be a lottery pick. He's very good. How's he going to be in the NBA? All I know is that he's a really good college player. He's a funky release, but he can hurt you. He could stick deep threes. And Banchero has been Banchero's been great, and he's 6'10", and he's uber talented, a premium A college player. And when he's hitting shots, you can't guard Pablo Banchero. You cannot guard him, all right? Too much wiggle, too much skill, too much strength at 6'10". When he has it rolling, it's over. But Jeremy Roach at the point guard position has been it. And their defensive intensity, they went zone against Texas Tech, Mark Williams. Their toughness and defense is what's separating this Duke team in this tournament. I thought Duke would lose to Davidson or even Michigan State because Virginia Tech and even Miami and Syracuse, they were not playing well in the ACC tournament. They were playing soft. When I saw Duke lose to South Carolina and Greenville in, 2017, 2018, they were soft. Duke was soft on the defensive end. They're not soft anymore. Mark Williams, Theo John, they've taken it to a level that people wouldn't expect in this tournament, all right? And the way that they beat Texas Tech was by really good defense. And Texas Tech got 74 points, but Duke is an unguardable offense, and even the Texas Tech defense, they spread them out like an NBA team, Roach, Moore, Griffin, and Banchero, and Texas Tech couldn't condense Duke on the defensive end. And if you're a Tech fan, when Duke scores and doesn't miss a shot for the last 10 minutes and they score 78 points, you can't win a game like that. You're done. You just got beat by a better team. It wasn't the refs. It wasn't any excuse. You couldn't guard these guys. And that was frustrating as a guy who's a Tech fan who was rooting for Texas Tech to win this whole thing. That was really frustrating because I wanted Texas Tech to condense them. I wanted them to get into them. They had nobody. Warren, Adonis Arms couldn't guard Jeremy Roach one-on-one. And then Banchero was just incredible. Bryson Williams was great. Bryson had probably one of his best games. Eric was great. O'Banner. Adonis Arms played awesome offensively. The guys played awesome. Kevin Mccullar, I can't believe I went this long without mentioning Mccullar. He's a junior from San Antonio, 6'5". Going to probably play even one more year at Tech, then be either an NBA guy or make a ton of money overseas. He's a great, great player. He's long, he can defend, he can shoot, he can create. And one of the best leaders in all college basketball is Mccullar, who's really the staple of Texas Tech. He's a guy who's been there from the Final Four, or from the championship game team, the one with the kid Matt Mooney, Jared Culver, even Edwards was on that team, Marletti from Italy. So, man, what a fun Texas Tech team. My favorite team in the tournament was Texas Tech. I love the way that they play. I love Mark Adams' journey. An incredible journey, a selfless journey in basketball. He's not about himself. He's not about the money. He's not about the fame at all. He's all about the kids. He's all about the kids. He's all about toughness, playing defense, preaching God. I love everything about Mark Adams. He's a humble. He's 63 years old. This is his first year coaching college basketball. Knock on wood, he can coach a decade at Texas Tech and cement his legacy as hopefully the greatest coach in Texas Tech history. I know Bob Knight was there, but Bob Knight was really at Indiana. I think Mark Adams can win a national championship with the way that he rolls, the way that they're going to bring in recruits and the defensive edge. They play with West Texas toughness, that pump jack mentality. So Duke rolls on because Duke, you can't guard those Duke guys. You just can't. And then Arkansas, I knew they would get blown out by Duke because Duke, it's like a formality that they were beating Arkansas because Arkansas is J.D. Note, they have Williams. But if Texas Tech can't stop Duke, I'm worried nobody's going to be able to stop them. Then let's get to the East region. Let's get to the real fun. St. Peter's. What a game against, and I actually was able to go. I live in the Philadelphia area. So I was able to go to see St. Peter's on Friday night against Purdue. And let me tell you, that arena was one of the coolest experiences ever, seeing North Carolina, UCLA, and the Peters fans from Jersey City drive up there. That arena was about 85 to maybe 15% Purdue, because Purdue did travel, to their credit. But that arena was buzzing. It was rocking. It was an incredible atmosphere. Their guards at St. Peter's are so inspiring. They're smaller guards, but they really defend you. And they hit big free throws. Doug Eddert, they're a great defensive team. They win on the defensive side of the ball. Shaheen Holiday is all grit from New York. He's tough. and the team was a great Cinderella story, making it to the Elite Eight. Clutch free throws to beat Purdue. Edey was kind of soft. He could have been better. Williams was fantastic in the second half. Ivey could not drive on these guys, did not try to drive. He was timid, and even though he was shooting, he was still timid in terms of driving the ball. Stefanovic had an unbelievable first half, and he wasn't able to sustain. And Purdue on the defensive end, they're not the level of North Carolina, which was proven. So North Carolina, UCLA, looking back, that was for a trip to the Final Four. That was a phenomenal game. Johnny didn't shoot it that well. I thought Tiger Campbell made several tough finishes. Jules Bernard, again, hit big-time shots and threes. But it came down to Caleb Love. Second half, he just exploded. 25 points. He's a microwave kind of player, meaning like he's like the Jamal Crawford or a six-man, but he's a starter that when he has it going that night, it's freaking lights out for you. And he's one of the most confident players in college basketball. He's like a Russ Smith. He is that great. And Russ Smith can be a college basketball Hall of Famer, one of the greatest guards to play at Louisville, one of the greatest guards growing up in this tournament. Is Caleb Love is absolutely a phenomenal, unstoppable force, okay, when he gets it rolling. He can pop threes from 25 feet. He can pop threes from 23 feet. He's confident. He believes he's the best player on the floor, and guess what? He is so many times. From St. Louis, he is just tough as nails. Oozes confidence, not afraid of anybody. He's the best. He's the baddest dude maybe in this whole tournament. Finishes with either hand. Incredibly athletic finishes. Knows how to put different English on the ball to finish around the rim. Can shoot the three, can shoot it from way out. Now, sometimes he'll overshoot, and that's what Carolina fans will even tell you. But come on. I mean, Hubert, you need to pump confidence into Caleb Love because you need Caleb Love to be engaged if you're going to go farther in this tournament. Davis is a very good passer. Davis can make plays. But really, it was Caleb Love against UCLA. He's the reason that they're in the Final Four. He was phenomenal. He was nails in that game. Nails. Armando Bacot, probably their best and most consistent. I mean, Caleb Love is the X factor. You kind of need Love to make you elite. The constant is Armando Bacot, who should have been the ACC Player of the Year. He gets you like 22 boards, 20 points against St. Peter's, but he was dominant. Even against UCLA, he just controls the paint. He is a better college center than Edey and Travion Williams have been in this tournament. Williams is great, but Williams, they always switch out, and Edey's only a sophomore. So I don't know if Edey's going to the league, but Edey can develop a shot, can even add strength inside. But guys, let me tell you, Armando Bacot is just the way he can finish around the rim, can shoot free throws, his rebounding skills, he owns the paint. And him versus, so Armando Bacot's him and Caleb Love are the reason that North Carolina's in, but they play five, and those five, Brady Maddox's been outstanding. He's been Ethan Raggi. He is one of the sharpest. He's been like Kevin Pittsnoggle in this tournament. A big four, could shoot the three. Just been great. Their five are as good as anybody, and I should have seen it coming. When they beat Duke, they were that good. When they beat Virginia by 25, it wasn't even close. I should have been like, damn. I should take notice of R.J. Davis and Caleb Love because they do give you Siva and Russ Smith vibes to this North Carolina team. And Leaky freaking Black, speechless. That's how good Leaky Black is. He can guard anybody. He can guard NBA players right now. He's exactly the type of player that you want to recruit. He's selfless, but he's 6'8", has the longest arms, incredible defender, incredible lateral defense. I would love to see him guard Banchero, but he's going to guard Griffin. He's going to completely take you out of a game. He is the ultimate weapon in that sense. He plays great team basketball. They have Puff Johnson. They have other guys, but you put Doug Edert on Leaky Black, it's over. It's nighty-night. Sorry, Doug. It's nighty-night. It wasn't like Doug scared because, come on, what are you going to be scared when the ball gets sent to the third row when Leaky Black's covering you? Leaky Black. I mean, people can whatever. They can see his offensive stats, but he's so vital. He's so vital. If you started a team, Leaky Black. I mean, so they have a lot of guys like Caleb Love. You could probably find like unbelievable scores like Caleb Love, but Leaky Black at 6'8", like his skill. to slide and play defense at that level, the tenacity, the length, the athletic ability that he has, but also the IQ and selflessness of Leaky Black, he's a special player. He's like a Theo Pinson in terms of a role player. He should be the fan favorite of this North Carolina team. So it's a great story. Hubert Davis, first year, took a lot of flack because you're replacing a legend in Roy Williams. You get off to a really hard start in non-conference, Purdue, Tennessee, Kentucky. Then they found Brady Manick after Darson Garcia left. And, man, Brady Manick's been so good. But the difference, let's talk about the difference between Purdue and North Carolina for St. Peter's and why they couldn't win. Well, one, St. Peter's shot it poorly, but also North Carolina's defense went up another level. When you have Leaky Black, when you have R.J. Davis that can really defend, when you have Armando down low, but even Caleb Love, they were really engaged. So you have RJ, Caleb Love. I mean, on Purdue, you have Stefanovic, not that great of a defender. Who's the power forward? You know about the center and you know about Jaden Ivey, but the guys in between, like Stefanovic, can shoot, but he's also like Kellen Grady, and Kentucky doesn't have the Leaky Black. And put it this way, Purdue didn't have Caleb Love. They did have Jaden Ivey, right? But you'll take a Love and a Davis in a tournament over just one guy in Jaden Ivey. And then the defense that Purdue showed against Texas did not match up against St. Peter's. And you had a week to prepare. But Travion Williams against Texas was amazing. And in this game, they got tight. The centers got tight, played really poorly, and Purdue's defense, all year, which has actually been a huge struggle all year, was nothing compared to North Carolina. And put it this way, North Carolina's tougher to guard because if you're Purdue or if you're St. Peter's, again, you have quick guards, so you're not that scared of a 6'4", even though he's an NBA player as a sophomore, 19 years old. Are you really scared? Jaden Ivey, you can game plan for that and not let him go off. And that's what St. Peter's did. And then you look at Edey, who's all right, and Travion Williams. These are very good college players, but are they going to dominate you? And they didn't dominate you, and they needed to dominate in order to win. And looking back, I mean, Baycott would have absolutely held up fine against Edey and Williams. Jaden Ivey, going against North Carolina's guards, maybe he would have played better, but I'm still taking Carolina. I mean, Brady Manick, and it's easy to say in hindsight, but Carolina, again, they beat Baylor. They were up 20 on them. They've had a really unbelievable tournament, and even the Marquette game now, you look back and you're like, damn, are they good? The way they played Virginia. So, damn, you look at North Carolina, and you have Caleb Love and R.J. Davis, and they're going up against Jeremy Roach. They're going up against Jeremy Roach and Paolo Banchero. I mean, Duke probably has more weapons like Wendell Moore. Mark Williams inside can be really, really awesome against Armando Baycott. So Duke, North Carolina, I don't think North Carolina can stop Duke, but is Duke going to be able to stop Caleb Love? And Caleb Love, he could be the best player on the floor in this Final Four because Caleb Love has the most confidence. Caleb Love is the clutchest player out of both teams. Both teams are young, but who's going to excel? And Caleb Love, he could freaking excel. He's going to score probably 30. Can Duke manage Caleb Love in this game? That's the key. Caleb Love can go off on them. You obviously got to worry about Brady, chipping in those threes. But again, I think it comes down to Roach versus Love. Those are going to be a key. Who's going to be better in that matchup of those two guards? All right. And then you look at Banchero's going to get you to 21 to 22 points. On North Carolina, Brady will be important. Brady's got to hit 15 points in order for them to win. Duke should be favored in the game. Wendell Moore is obviously a huge component. I know I'm saying so many keys, but again, if Jeremy Roach gets you over 14, if Jeremy Roach is making shots in the final couple minutes, it's going to be Jeremy Roach versus Caleb Love in the end. But Duke has more options. They have Wendell Moore on the wing. They have A.J. Griffin. They have Mark Williams. All right? Their starting five is ridiculous. And if Jeremy Roach is contributing like this, you put Keels coming off the bench because Leaky Black's not going to contribute offensively that well. Baycott against Williams. Williams is going to stuff Baycott. So then RJ Davis against like a Jeremy Roach, I don't know. So then it's going to be Wendell Moore versus Caleb Love, and Love's going to have to score 30 in this game for North Carolina to win. Can he do it? He's going to have to be a superhuman in this game. And Brady Manick, Brady Manick is going to have to shoot the cover off of the basketball. And I know RJ Davis was great in the first game. So, of course, RJ is going to have to contribute a little bit. Of course. And then for North Carolina, can they guard Duke again? But Duke's going to have all the motivation. They already lost to Carolina. They just have more guys, like I said. Like, you have Wendell. You have a lot of options. They're the best team left in the tournament. So I have Duke beating Kansas in the final game. I've doubted Villanova so far, and without Justin, which is just heartbreaking that Justin Moore went down, it's awful. But for Bill Self, I mean, you want to see Self win one again. You think he should have more than one championship. I want Kansas to win, but I feel like Duke is going to win. I like Christian Brown. I love Obagi. Obagi is such a great story out of Milwaukee, a 3-star recruit. Like, just get to know Obagi. Listen to his interviews. The kid is heart of gold. The kid is an awesome kid. Player of the year in the Big 12, first-team All-American, kid's a stud. He's going to be so much fun to watch. Christian Brown, Leavesworth, Kansas, local Kansas guy growing up in Kansas and getting to play at his school. That's what you dream about. It's awesome to see Christian Brown and his family. It's great to see him, excel. Mitch Lightfoot, who's been from Scottsdale, 5-star recruit. People thought he was a disappointment. He stayed the course, and now he's reaping the benefits. Okay, and he's playing incredible basketball right now. Big David McCormick playing awesome, great basketball right now. The second half against Miami, because all tournament, let's talk about Kansas's road, right? Who did they play in the 8-9? They played Creighton. What a game. I like Creighton a lot too. Dougie McBuckets. So that's really my original team. I knew that Texas Tech had a better chance to win it all. So I guess Texas Tech and Creighton were the two teams this year that I was really tuning in for. Creighton played great against Kansas, but Kansas, and again, Remy Martin was the X factor in the game. And then against Providence, they were off and on. Providence can't score with Kansas, but again, Providence is going to test you in so many ways. Providence, what a valiant effort. But Kansas was still not playing that well. They weren't just absolutely going off like they went off against Texas Tech, like they played against Baylor at home. They weren't putting it all together. And against Miami in the first half, you had Wong and, of course, their guy McCourtsey on Miami. Whew. Miami was playing in the first half. 34-28. You're like, Kansas going down. This is another Elite Eight choke job by Bill Self, like the one against Oregon a couple of years ago in Kansas City. The one against Nova when they had the 1 seed. Second half was different, man. The way they came out, what Bill Self did in the locker room was so effective. Like, their point guard was getting after Miami. They played unbelievable defense. They hustled. McCormick was unbelievable. Obagi was hitting threes. Christian was really letting it fly and shooting confidently. Remy, it was an onslaught, and it was amazing to watch. So if they play with that intensity against Nova, they can fend off Nova, but Nova's going to keep it really close, even without Justin Moore, the style of Villanova. It's so tough to beat them. And then Houston, everybody can joke about Houston and say they shot 1 for 20 and they're not even a good team. They run. The Arizona matchup was awesome for Houston. They were so much more athletic than Illinois. Sampson lost his 2 best players. He is arguably the best coach in college basketball. He should be in the top 3. The job that he's done at Houston has been impeccable. Final 4 last year, Elite 8 this year. But beating Arizona, my gosh. And Arizona with Matherin and Jalen Terry, the big guys, Coloco, everybody. I mean, Arizona's an unbelievable offensive team. Houston punked them. Houston was the tougher team. Houston's so athletic, they love to run against Villanova. Villanova doesn't allow any transition. And then in the half court, in the first half, they were really stagnant on offense. They got better looks in the second half. But again, in the half court, like, Houston's better when they're just playing in transition. And Nova just really made a half court game. It was a coaching clinic by Jay Wright. Houston was almost there. And Houston needed to put more pressure on Gillespie the entire game. Houston had an off game. And Carlson got in foul trouble. They couldn't go inside, but it was an either-or kind of a game. And it was just tough when you went up against Nova's experience. But listen, Houston, if they replayed that game 10 times, Houston can win 6 of them. If they played in a 7-game series, like Houston would win that game in 6. They would win that series in 6 or 7. Like, they're right there. They played awful shooting the ball and still had a chance to win because they're so athletic. And the teams from the Big 12, TCU and Houston, like, they're so tough on defense, and they're so tough. Their athletes are just incredible. The way they play basketball, they're not just athletes. Like, the way they defend, the way they can finish at the rim, like Sheard, the way Sheed was creating shots. Like Kyler Edwards, people will mock him for his last game. He was unbelievable in this tournament. Unbelievable in the tournament. Like, give credit to the teams that made the Elite Eight, like St. Peter's and Houston. Okay, give credit to the Miami Hurricanes and Jim Larinaga for an awesome, unforgettable year that almost resulted in a Final Four. It's so hard to get to the Final Four. But now you look at the Final Four and Arkansas, too, and the Muss Bus. You're just taking Arkansas to another level. The Muss Bus has been impeccably good at Arkansas. So now you look at the Final Four, it's a blue blood show. I talked about Duke, North Carolina. About Duke. Coach K gets the revenge on North Carolina. It's perfect for Duke. It's perfect for the story. They'll forget about this if they beat North Carolina. If North Carolina beats Duke here and they beat him at Cameron, Coach K is going to be freaking humiliated. He might need to coach another game, another season. They punk you at your own, home last game, and then they beat you in New Orleans in the Final Four. They eliminate you and a really good team that Duke has this year. A special Duke team. This pesky North Carolina team and first-year coach Hubert Davis. Boy, it's so much more important to Duke and Coach K than it is to Hubert Davis, but this is the first time ever that these teams have met in the tournament. They're meeting here. It's crazy. I wanted St. Peter's to win. Give credit to North Carolina, by the way. Their fans, incredible in Philadelphia. Listen, if it's Duke and North Carolina, I'm probably rooting for North Carolina, but I'm not like a diehard North Carolina. Some guys are real North Carolina. Franklin Street's unbelievable. Chapel Hill's fun, but North Carolina fans they're great fans. They're almost like Kentucky fans. They're top 5 in college basketball. And even though St. Peter's had Jersey and Philly all rooting for them, North Carolina still almost had a majority of fans, 55, 45, 60-40. Tar Heel Blue, Carolina Blue just goes everywhere. So New Orleans is going to be a party for everybody going down there. It's going to be as much fun of a Final Four as ever. I mean, these programs speak for themselves. Kansas, the all-time winningest program. North Carolina, most Final Fours. Coach K, and then Villanova. And Villanova's won 3 Final Fours in the last 5 years. 2 championships in a 3-year span. Ridiculous. So these programs are the elite of the elite in college basketball. So after all the chaos in this tournament, Arizona, Gonzaga, Kentucky, Iowa losing opening weekend, St. Peter's going to the second weekend, Illinois getting bounced, Michigan beating Tennessee, St. Peter's going all the way to the Elite Eight, Arkansas, the Sweet 16 being a wild, wild ride. You end up with, and it's crazy because let's talk about why this is so surprising before we bounce on out of here. This is so surprising, this Final Four, because Villanova against Creighton and Villanova in their offense this year has never been a classic Villanova offense where they had Bridges, they had Brunson, they had all these guys. Like in 2018, Josh Hart, where's the NBA talent? Where's the unbelievable scoring? You had Archie Diacono, Chris Jenkins, Ochefu was phenomenal. And Archie's just great point guard. Phil Booth, a young Phil Booth. So I think even Jalen Brunson played on that 2016 team as a freshman. This team, listen, you have Slater, can't really shoot it. Daniels, who's okay. Samuels, they're all fine, but are they great shooters? Are they unbelievable players? Gillespie's a very good player. very good college player, probably in the top 7 of top 5 of Nova point guards. I would even say Scotty Reynolds and his performance in the Elite Eight Scotty Reynolds may even be more of a talent, but Gillespie's accomplishments, playing so long it's an interesting debate. But I still like Arch and Jalen, but it's a debate about Nova point guards. But this Nova team, I didn't see it. They played bad against Creighton. I thought Loyola would challenge them. Tennessee had the horses to beat them. The way Michigan was playing, I didn't see their guards going this cold. But then when I saw them beat Michigan like that, I'm like, damn, I made a mistake. So I think I had Tennessee beating Nova in my bracket. Yeah. And the Tennessee guards against Nova would have been a great matchup for Tennessee. Actually, if they were able to advance against Michigan. But that's something that you never would have seen. But Nova this year, they weren't a good offensive team. They were a bad offensive team. But their defense was just so great in this tournament. I underestimated and was wrong on that. Duke, I told you about Duke earlier in the segment. They lost to Virginia Tech. They lost to North Carolina. ACC, they play soft defense. They don't challenge at the rim. They're soft. I thought Texas Tech would wipe the floor with them. I thought Texas Tech would out-tough them, that Duke would fold. Michigan State was up 5. I didn't see Jeremy Roach turning into, Tyus Jones and Peyton Siva in this tournament. Like Kemba and Shabazz Napier, but that's what Jeremy Roach just took his game. He was just outstanding. And Pablo and Duke's defense, their zone, the way Mark Williams is altering shots, their defensive toughness has just gone to a level that I did not anticipate in this tournament. Kansas winning. Kansas had a possibility of winning, and then with Auburn losing, Kansas is the least surprising. In North Carolina, they were an 8 seed. Could they beat a hobbled Baylor? Sure. But them beating UCLA, and it took Caleb Love to have an amazing game. But taking an 8 seed all the way to the Final Four, and then, they did play St. Peter, so your draw does matter in this tournament. But could North Carolina put it all together? Even Virginia Tech, I think, beat UNC. So could North Carolina put it all together with 5 guys, and can they be consistent? After all, first part of the year, they were not there consistently against other competition, but now you see it. So it was all just a consistency thing from North Carolina, and were they going to beat Baylor and UCLA? I think it's even more improbable that Duke and Nova are in this Final Four, because I thought Duke's defense was terrible, and I thought Villanova's offense was not good. So Duke's defense has been on point. Nova's offense has been good enough for them to get through. North Carolina, in hindsight, was a really hot team coming in. I could see that happening, but Nova, man, the way they shot against Creighton in the Big East, they play ugly games, ugly rock fights. For that to work for 4 straight games, it's Jay Wright's greatest coaching job, and it sucks that Justin's not going to be there. I want him to be healthy. I like Villanova. They play team basketball. Jay's awesome. Man, what an interesting if Justin was there, the Final Four would be impeccable. But Kansas has an edge now, and then Duke to Carolina is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great game. So excited to talk about it all with you guys here. And I enjoyed, kind of getting all my thoughts out on the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight games.